All aboard! And welcome back to Inside Quotes, the show where my brother and I rewatch, review, and relive the staples of our childhood. And this month, the Christmas staples of our childhood. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me today is my older brother, Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome back to 119th episode of Inside Quotes. 119 episodes in, and I am killing the intro still.
You sure are, Jeremy. Quack, quack, everybody. It's good to be back on the show. Jeremy, do you have your ticket for the ride today?
Oh, no. Yeah, I just kind of lost it in the wind, and like a pack of wolves stirred it up, and then like a eagle swooped it up and fed it to his kid, and then there's a pack of flying fish that also took it underwater with them. And so basically, I don't have a ticket, but you can kick me off if you need me to.
No, I need you here. I need you here long term.
Whew. Good, because it's just in time for hot chocolate.
Already? We just boarded. Oh, man, what a mug.
I know.
What a mug. No wonder you're in a rush.
Check out my Christmas mug. I also spilled whipped cream all over it. It's so bad. Like, I'm glad it has... It's the worst.
It comes with a built-in coaster.
Yeah. It's a s'mores mug, if you couldn't tell.
That's awesome.
Classic.
Didn't know that was usable. Kind of looked like for decoration only.
Well, you can use decorative plates, I guess.
I guess so.
It was originally a hot cocoa set, so why not use it for hot cocoa?
Well,
hot cocoa.
I have mine here as well. My mug. It says "Warm Winter Wishes." It's not as cool of a design as you have, but
yours is more corporate.
But I will say, yeah, corporate approves of this one.
Warm winter wishes to you.
Well, there's only one rule about hot cocoa, Jeremy.
What?
Never let it cool. So we got to drink it now before we wait.
Never let it cool. Today, Jonathan, we are covering a huge, count it, spell it, huge staple of my childhood, at least. Maybe ours, both. The Polar Express from
great.
2004. And Jonathan, tell me a little about this movie for you. Like, what's your history with this movie?
Well,
where were you in 04?
04? 6th grade-ish? 5th or 6th? That sounds about right.
Really?
Yeah. I remember the movie coming out. I remember it being based on a book. I remember reading the book as a kid, taking the the accelerated reader tests.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing about it. And you'll have to refresh my memory on this. Did we go see this with school, like as a field trip, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I do remember watching it at school a bunch. And my memory with this is the Florida College Academy Parents' Night Out lock-in.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that?
No.
It wasn't a lock-in overnight, but it was like, Parents' Night Out. Bring your kids to school. We'll show them a movie. We'll babysit them so y'all can go on a date.
Oh, that. Yeah,
I don't know if you did that. It was definitely more the younger kids.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I wouldn't call that a lock-in because, it wasn't overnight. But, yeah, I do remember that now.
Well, I guess we were just used to being there at night. But
nighttime, summer, cool. Weekends. But never there on time when we're supposed to. Yeah.
That's us. No, I remember it being awesome. They had fresh cookies. We were all supposed to bring a sleeping bag, and we were in the cafeteria, and we wore our pajamas, our sleeping bags, fresh cookies, and we watched Polar Express on the big screen in the auditorium. Cafetorium. That's what we called it. And they also had Papa John's. I remember that. That's a classic nighttime food. It was great. They watched us for 4 or 5 hours that night. If I
Okay.
was a parent, that'd be awesome.
I don't remember that one specifically. I remember them doing it a few times because I think they had like a Halloween one time as well. And they
Yeah.
had like a hayride.
Yeah.
And they got like some of the older kids to be like scarers and everything, like out in the woods behind the school. But I wasn't one of those. I just was on the hayride getting scared.
Yeah. That was pre-fall festival days, I guess. Wow, welcome back to the Florida College Academy years 2000 to 2005 podcast.
Was this like a book that you read for like years and years and years leading up to this movie coming out? Or was it like, oh, I heard the movie's coming out, I'm going to read the kid's book? I know you were young, so...
Yeah, I was in kindergarten, maybe.
Okay, so yeah. I was definitely familiar with the book maybe a few years before it came out. It wasn't one that like we read every year, you know, like at Christmas time.
Was the book written by Tom Hanks? Or like after the fact? I don't even know.
You would think that based on how many characters he plays in this movie, and he like
based
produced
off
it.
Of him.
But no, it was written in the 80s by an author. I'll just leave it at that. By an author. And it was just like it was like a bestseller. I was reading that when it came out, it was just like every year that it was out, it like sold more copies than it did the previous year. And it just like kept like snowballing. I don't know if it's still doing, but it sold millions at this point.
It's a good quick read. You know, you don't have to commit to chapters or anything. It's just man, I read a book.
I will say though,
Goodreads later.
Yeah.
It's for those.
Yeah, someone has the Goodreads and it's just all kids' books. They got like the dumb bunnies on there.
The pacing of this was really good.
Captain Underpants.
Pizza.
Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be ranking all of the Captain Underpants books.
I guarantee you there's an episode, there's a YouTube video on that topic.
Sorry, not a ranking video. I'll be doing a tier list. This is top tier Captain Underpants right here. I feel like the Captain Underpants books, this is just a random tangent, but just like,
okay,
you didn't have to read them. Like, you just got to look at the cover and read the title of it, and you're like, okay, I think I get the joke here. And it looks great. I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes me want to read it, but like, it's kind of like you see like an Onion article, and you see the headline. Need to read it, but you're like, I don't need to read everything they wrote. I kind of get the joke.
Do you think they finished them? I've never read the whole thing.
I'm sure they're still doing it. I don't know.
Especially now with ChatGPT, I'm sure they. But I feel like
I don't know.
If just like if you made it to this far, you know this is satire.
Yeah. And I had one of them back in the day, but Mom was she was like, I don't want you reading Captain Underpants, but I had one in the collection and she allowed it.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about the Onion article, but
the Onion article.
Do they finish those?
They write they write a whole article, and I mean sometimes it's worth, going through it, but
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Captain Underpants is going crazy. They're doing Dogman movies now, and
maybe that's what it is. It's just the spinoffs.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else do we have memory-wise? I've got a huge memory.
I was going to say with the Polar Express book, though, like it made an impact. Like it was very memorable when I read it. It definitely
good story.
It's a good. It captures your attention. It has this quality where like it could be like. I feel like it has the potential to be like a very like classic Christmas story, like of like mythical levels. Just like night before Christmas. Like it's up. It could be up there. It could be up there with those stories.
Yeah.
I don't know if it quite is, but yeah. Anyways, maybe it is for some people.
I think it's got a whole level of magic, and it's like a whole like world that a lot of Christmas. Well, there's different classifications of Christmas movies. There's Christmas movies about the North Pole that take place in the North Pole that has an actual Santa Claus in the movie. And then there's like on the other end of the spectrum, Christmas movies that are about family that are celebrating Christmas. But like in their world, if there are any kids listening, in their world, Santa doesn't exist. I'm not going to judge them off of it, but
they can't hear the bells.
Yeah, they can't hear the bells. And this one like lands right in the middle because it's sort of about this kid who wants to believe in Santa, but he's getting really old. He's like 8, 11, maybe 12. I don't know. They don't even tell us his name.
Yeah, the cast says Hero Boy.
Yeah, which is crazy. But he keeps looking into the truth and like looking at encyclopedias and stuff of the North Pole and like unlivable. No livable life or something like that. And then he keeps coming across the answers and they're not telling him that he's real until he gets on a train.
I think there's definitely some interesting themes to talk about in the movie when it comes to like belief and like the magic of Christmas.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, Jeremy, you've got a memory.
I do. It's a big memory.
We got to talk about it.
I was a dabbler in middle school of the theatrical arts because we were all required to do it because it was the Christmas program. And for some reason I auditioned to be in this Polar Express play and I got the lead. I got the boy, the hero boy lead. And that's where I learned that he didn't have a name. And I'm pretty sure. So I got casted, little chubby bowl cut Rowley looking character over here. Put on a blue rat bathrobe that was my uncle's that I found when he was getting rid of stuff. I was like, this is perfect.
I need this.
And it had his initials JHJ on it, so they were close to mine. And yeah, I just remember like saying like, there's no name. Everyone else has a name. How come I don't have a name? And they're like, let's just go with Jeremy. So I was playing myself, playing the hero boy on stage.
Okay.
And might I say, it was probably one of the most fun things I've ever done.
So anytime they referred to you in the play, they just like called.
Yeah.
They just said Jeremy.
From what I can remember, I may be wrong because I was in 8th grade, but they also changed the script up. They added like the little sister came on the train with me.
Okay.
And I thought that was stay true to the source material. Oh my goodness. We had Tim Chandler playing the conductor, the Tom Hanks character.
Oh yeah.
And it was cool. It's cool. Elizabeth Hammondtree was the sister, and Tyra Ball was. What's her name?
I don't remember. I don't know characters in this movie.
Yeah, I just know Steven is the kid that was like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. That's probably, I think about that quip, the quote.
Is that the same kid that's
all the time?
Do you know what kind of train this is?
No, completely different kid.
Okay.
He was just the kid on the security camera at the North Pole, like rewinding it. Just checking the list one last time. We seem to have a troublemaker here.
Yeah.
It's like a real live video of an actual kid, and he's just like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Like he's cutting it close to Christmas time. Like, well, we'll give him a pass this year, but put him on the watch list.
Yeah. Definitely imprinted in my mind. That quote, for sure. Zach Witherington played the hobo. He did a really good job at that. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good. Yeah.
Now that you're mentioning the names, I'm like picturing it because I was there to go see
Yeah.
it. I had to be there to
Okay, I was
support
gonna
my
make sure
brother.
you were there. I didn't know if
I
you were
did
there or
see it,
not.
and actually, I'm pretty sure I filmed it.
Really?
I think I was like getting the bootleg copy, to sell at
Okay.
the parking garage outside the movie theater. No, to see
Okay.
your Christmas program, I was filming it.
Okay. Well, we'll have to find. I'm pretty sure it's on DVD somewhere.
Yeah, we have it
So maybe when
somewhere.
we go home for Christmas, we'll look for it. But
I
I
feel
do
like
have a picture, and we'll
yeah.
show it right here. It's so embarrassing that our friend Amy Cunningham has a picture of us at the. It's so bad. Oh,
But I mean, that was like your first taste of
of theater, and I
theater.
got the lead my first try. I'm a
Yeah,
natural.
yeah.
Oh man.
And then you didn't
Yeah.
try again until Fiddler, huh?
I didn't try again until I
Yeah.
was 24. Oh, okay. That same year, maybe we did. What's it called? It was just like a mashup. That spring, we did like a musical of the Rodgers and Hammerstein songs. So it was like a program of different songs from the different plays, and it was like Sound of Music and South Pacific, and I think those are the only songs I was a part of.
So did you play a character, or you just sang
Well,
lead
yeah,
in a few of the songs or something? Or
no, it was like actual scenes. Like we
okay,
dressed up and everything.
okay. So
So it was like
a series of like vignettes or something taken from
yes,
different shows.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And I played Friedrich for one song. Didn't have any lederhosen, but whatever. And then in South Pacific, I was just one of the military guys singing "Nothing Like a Dame."
Oh yeah,
Classic.
I think I saw that one too. Wasn't as good as Polar Express though.
Was not as good as Polar Express because this story is great.
Let me ask you a question because I know that you've always had a soft spot for this movie. And I've always paired that because, like, oh, you played the character in the show. You did, you were in the production. But did you love this movie as much before
I
you did the show?
absolutely did. Yeah.
Okay, so you I love this movie. I would love to go out
I
for
was
this part and
so
do this.
geeked.
Okay.
Yeah, why would I try out for the lead if I didn't love it?
I don't know. Maybe you're trying to impress somebody.
Maybe.
Couldn't be me.
Trying to get on the nice list. No, I remember this movie was the trailer on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban DVD on widescreen.
Yeah.
It was a good trailer. It got me hyped for Christmas. Oh my goodness. Just like the opening where everything's shaking in his room.
Mm-hmm.
The little Ford hubcap against the radiator.
Yeah, I feel like this one had a really good like teaser trailer.
It did.
It was just like iconic. I remember maybe just because I remember seeing it a bunch on the Harry Potter
to be
movie.
fair, we did watch Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Maybe that's it.
Lot.
But you know what? I kind of also remember like it being one of those movie trailers we all gathered up around like a computer in the library, and watched. I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it was a brand new animation style too.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have much 3D animation back then, but also like mocap.
The motion capture was pretty new.
And people say, I'm just going to say, if you hate this movie because of the way it looks, get a life, bro. Scram. Everyone says, those dead, lifeless eyes, I can't even handle it. You're done. Away with you. Oh my goodness.
And you might be surprised. We are shooting today's episode of Inside Quotes using motion capture, and you didn't even notice.
Was that a good, like, dead, lifeless eyes? 3D motion capture?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, did Monster House also... That was a later movie.
Yes,
but by like 2 years. But it looks different.
Yeah, so I did look it up. There is a few like motion capture films. First off, Robert Zemeckis directed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He directed Back to the Future, did Forrest Gump, he did Castaway. So he's worked with Tom Hanks a lot. And he also has a lot of experience with like visual effects. Like there was some he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was kind of that blend of like live action and animation. He even, there was some visual effects even in like Forrest Gump with like inserting him into like events in history and that sort of thing. So he kind of has like a visual effects background and interest. And then in the 2000s, he just like went on a streak of like, I'm all in on this motion capture technology, because he made the Polar Express, and then after that he made Beowulf, like an adaptation of that really old book. Made that was all motion capture, and then he did A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
In between that though was Monster House, which was also using motion capture technology. He didn't direct that one, but I think he was involved in it as a producer. Something like that.
That sounds like a very Zemeckis style movie. Not necessarily Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
But Adventures of Tintin, was that?
Tintin. Also that was in 2011. So that was a little bit later on. And I kind of remember that one looking maybe a little bit better than like Polar Express. But like Polar Express really was like, I think it really was like the launching pad for that technology, as far as like a movie that is using that technology like pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
Like there'd been other motion capture like performances, something, it's like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, but like this was like totally created environments, and all the characters were through this new, process. So
yeah, it was basically like PS3 cutscene. Only it looks better than PS3. Like it's like an Xbox One or PS4 cutscene of a video game, but for it looks good. Honestly, I'm not going to dog on it.
The movie still looks good. Like when I rewatched it, I was like, the biggest thing that I feel like people could complain about is just the look of the characters. But it does have kind of a video game look to it, but it is also like, yeah, the shots are really good. You can tell there's a lot of thought, like into the storyboarding of how the action sequences are going to go and the look of the movie. You can tell that there's a big name director kind of working behind the scenes on this one. And I really appreciated that. Honestly, I liked this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to, because I have not watched this, but maybe once.
This isn't an
every
year watch for you. What?
This is
more than once in your life?
Okay, maybe twice. I don't know. Like
I watch this every year.
I feel like multiple times there's been the option of like you and mom were out in the living room, like, hey, we're gonna watch the Polar Express. Want to join? I'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to my room. And not because this one just never like stuck with me. And I think I was kind of creeped out by the look of it. Maybe it just didn't have quite the same like level of inside quotes for me. But having watched it again, I feel like this could be an every year watch. Like I really liked it.
It's so good. It's got one of the best North Poles in movies. Like, go around all the Christmas movies, rank them.
All the Christmas movies?
Yeah, just all the North Poles. No, not all the Christmas movies. Just the North Poles.
It's hard to. I mean, like, I feel like when we talked about the Santa Claus, we were like canonically like that is the Santa Claus North Pole. I feel like
I disagree.
To us. You disagree?
Yeah, this is a better North Pole than that.
Okay,
I think so.
I feel like canonically, like that's my headcanon. Is the Santa Claus movies.
I'm just being contrarian right now.
This is a different take on it, though.
Yeah. This is like comparing those elves to these elves. This is more like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's Oompa Loompas versus Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory's Oompa Loompas.
Mm-hmm.
Although they were kids. Oh, I don't know. Because there's Elf, Polar Express, Santa Claus, of this genre, like in the world where there's also Fred Claus, but we're not. Go watch our back burners if you want to hear about that movie. Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, but I mean, what else do you have to say about this one that does things differently?
I don't know.
This
It's more
just
of
has
a
a whole
factory,
different like tradition,
well-oiled machine,
mm-hmm.
like you said in the movie. But
I mean, just this is totally unique though. Of like, first off, this is supposed to take place the night before Christmas, right? Yeah, obviously, because he's like waiting for Santa to come to his house. So yeah, like
it's a big celebration.
It's this whole this is a whole new concept of like the Polar Express coming and picking up kids and taking them, and like Santa being there to give out like the first Christmas gift of the year. It's like before he goes and delivers everything for the year. I was curious, like, these aren't all kids that are like doubting. Like there are kids that
just
like
they need to learn a lesson.
Is that what it is? There's some lesson they need to learn
based off of their tickets. Like the nerd needs to learn
right
more things than just nerd stuff. You need to learn to be a good person.
Well, it wasn't something like humility or something, or like like putting others first, or
yeah. And then the girl was to lead as a leader.
Yeah.
I don't know about Billy.
Is Billy the one from like the other side of the tracks?
Yeah.
Okay.
What stops at the other side of the tracks?
Yeah.
It's just another house. Do you know what kind of train this is? Huh? Do ya? Yikes.
Okay, so I mean that makes sense though. Like the kids are all there to learn a lesson, and they don't go every year. But that does make sense.
Yeah, because they're all around the same age, and they're all like sort of the verge of growing up in like the age of enlightenment on this issue. I guess this is a whole interesting like parenting conundrum too. Like, do you tell your kids about Santa or you don't? / is this sort of a weird combination of, is Santa God in this sense, or is like in North Pole is heaven, and do we become elves out? Like, I don't know.
No, elves are angels, silly.
Yeah. Well,
no, I mean, I definitely rewatching it as an adult, there was definitely themes of like faith and belief, and you could definitely use this story as like an allegory for like religious faith. And so I was really interested in it, and yet it doesn't really like lay things out. It just like there's different ideas, and it's kind of an allegory of specifically in the story of just like Christmas, belief in Santa and of Christmas magic. And I had a similar feeling like when we watched Castaway, where I felt like there was like interesting themes happening, but like it didn't really like lay them out or quite come together the way you think they are. And I kind of felt like this was interesting in that way as well. So maybe that's a Robert Zemeckis thing, but
just like each kid had their own different path to understanding the bigger picture of the North Pole and Santa / heaven and God.
Yeah. And also the way that
their circumstances encourage them not to believe in Santa based on their own research or just like stuff they think they already know. as a know-it-all, or just bad stuff happening to them where they don't have a good Christmas or just a good life in general. I don't know.
And just the way that all the kids like interact with them. Like they all have a lesson to learn, but they also play a role in each other's lessons.
Yeah.
You know, that they help that in this whole experience and all this on this journey on the train.
Also, you know how Hero Boy, me, if you will.
You can call him Jeremy if you want.
You know how he's instantly wanting to help Billy get on the train, and like he doesn't know anything about him, but he's like, I don't know if we should do that, but I got to get him his ticket, and just constantly helping him. And that she's like saving hot chocolate for him so that he can have a good, like these kids are helping him believe or whatever, helping him have a good time on the train, but they don't really know why he's so hesitant, and they don't know why their help is helping him by like encouraging him to have friends and stuff, because they don't understand like his situation at home, and it's very ambiguous because he just says Christmas just doesn't work out for me. Christmas just doesn't work out for me. And it just makes you think that he's got sort of a rougher home life, especially if he's on the other side of the tracks, of course.
Yeah.
But
it didn't work out for me either. I remember I asked one year for a Chuck E. Cheese and a Dunkin' Donuts in my backyard, and Santa did not deliver that.
Okay. I was getting deep there, but
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry it was such a big deal for you.
I'll put him to the test that year. He did not succeed.
Did not deliver. No. But like I wish I understood. I guess I don't wish I understood stuff like this when I was in 8th grade. Like as a kid, I don't think about, like, kids just like to inherently be good and help other kids out. But I feel like I wish I understood that when I was playing this role more, because I really could have brought it out and like really wowed the audience. But as an actor, of course. But it just gets deeper than that.
But you couldn't, because you had, the sister was just tagging along and just like,
I know,
it just ruined everything.
No, not really. It added to the story and it included more kids. I guess it made sense as a teacher.
Okay, Tom Hanks. You brought up Willy Wonka. I feel like he's kind of a Willy Wonka character, right? Like,
yeah.
Maybe especially in like I'm thinking of like the Gene Wilder version, because he's kind of like unhinged at times, and like there's kind of two sides of him, and I feel like
you're sort of scared of him. You can't like all the kids are scared of him, yet they love him at the same time when he brings out hot chocolate, but also he's gonna kick him off the train.
Right? Yeah. So I didn't really remember that dynamic of it, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And then also, I was just
sometimes it's hard to read adults like that as a kid too.
Yeah,
I think this movie really captures the kid's perspective more than most movies ever.
Yeah,
but
I would agree. Because kids would look up and like see the authority figure, but then also be like scared.
Yeah.
There was a lot I didn't really remember about this movie, and so I was like, what is going on? When the train conductor takes the girl and they climb up on the roof of the train and start walking. I was like, what is happening? I do not remember this. And then they like disappear. And then it turns into like this fever dream where he runs into this like homeless guy on top of the train riding the rails.
Who looks just like him without a mustache.
Also played by Tom Hanks. I didn't remember that Tom Hanks like did motion capture for pretty much every character in this movie.
Tom Hanks Norbited the crap out of this movie. He's basically Eddie Murphy in Norbit. How you doing? Sorry. Moving on. I love the details, especially at the beginning, where he's like looking up, looking for truth and stuff, and he keeps like finding glimpses of things like, oh, maybe it'll be good, maybe he will be, and like he still doesn't believe in Santa, even if he's on this train. Like, he's still in a stranger's train, but they stop past this toy store, and there's a robotic Santa.
Yeah.
And he can't tell. He's like, is that the real Santa?
He gets
and
his
then
hopes
it turns
up.
around,
Yeah.
and he see the little wind up thing, and he's like, oh, it's not him.
I laughed at that. I thought that was so funny.
But like, even up to the point of he's at the North Pole, and there's millions of tiny elves, and you've just gone through, like, flown around Santa's huge presents bag, he still didn't hear the bells at that point because he hadn't seen Santa himself. That's crazy. Anyways.
Yeah, there's like a shot of him like looking through the crowd, and like Santa comes out, but his perspective is like it's being blocked by everyone else, and he's just like trying to get a glimpse and can't see it. And
so kid's perspective.
And then he just like turns around, and then he's there.
Yeah. Oh, also at the beginning where it looks like he's in his home, and he looks downstairs at the shadow of Santa, but it actually is just like his dad carrying his sister holding a toy. Like that was shaking around like a jingle bell.
It definitely, I really like the aesthetic of the movie. Like the look, I mean, besides the characters aside, if you can kind of get past that uncanny valley. I know. Yeah, I'm not trying to
It's a
convince
comfort
you.
movie for me.
It's a very cozy, like Christmas movie watch. Just like being on a train, gliding across the ice, going through the snow-covered mountains on the way to the North Pole. Visually, I was very impressed with this movie. Actually, I had a good time watching it.
Bonus points for an eagle screech sound. Okay. I love the sound of an eagle, like in Brother Bear. Oh, I can't even just put an eagle noise in here. Just kidding. That's too much work.
I think I'm just gonna throw in a clip of Nacho Libre when he dives and it makes the eagle sound.
I forgot about the puppet scene.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. That's enough of that. Moving on. Talk about creepy. Do I like what?
Do you like train movies? Like, I feel like that's very appealing. It's just like, I like a movie that just takes place on a train.
I'd like to go on a train someday.
I would too.
Like, there's this like week-long train that goes across the country of Canada, and it ends up in Alaska and back. It's like a round trip.
It's pretty much the North Pole.
Yeah, that is the Polar Express. And you sleep on the train for like 5 days. And it's like a cruise, but on a train. That sounds amazing to me. And I feel like trains in the United States aren't a thing besides like freight trains and stuff like that. Not passenger trains. And I guess that makes it more... I wonder if people in Europe don't care about trains as much because it's just a way of life. Like, it's not as romanticized as we have trains.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's
I would say they probably like it more because it is part of their life. You know, it's like...
Francis on TikTok really loves trains.
I mean, most people here, I've never traveled by train. I not in the U.S. really. It's very rare. I mean, besides stuff like, like the subway and things like that in some of the major cities, but rarely do people travel by train in the U.S. I watched a video on YouTube because it was talking about why model trains like became like a classic Christmas gift, and why they're like
model trains.
Model
trains?
I did.
Oh, what's that? I'm just playing with my Polar Express train set that it's completely put apart. But
courtesy of
check
Aldi.
This one out. Yeah, this is going around our Christmas tree, but I couldn't get a shot of the Christmas tree, so I took it up. Yeah. So yeah, I've always wanted to have a model train around the tree, and we never had that growing up. And the Polar Express is my favorite.
And that's what the video was talking about, like why that became a tradition to have like a tree, like a train going around the tree. And it was basically just like part of the marketing was like marketing them as Christmas gifts. And people would just naturally like, oh, you open up your Christmas gift, you put it together, and they just put it together, the track around the tree on Christmas morning. Yeah. And they would like take photos of that, and just it kind of became a thing.
And it's like in a lot of songs too, like toy trains. I can't think of a song right now, but I feel like it's in a lot of songs. Mm-hmm. Like a toy train for a Jimmy.
Yeah, was that like a Dua Lipa song or something?
Yeah,
or was that
Dua Lipa and the baby?
What? Yeah, but I think that part of it too was just like kids would ask for that because it was more of like a way of life. Like they interacted with trains much more than kids do these days. So, I mean, 100 years ago, people would ask for that kind of thing, but now, not so much.
Now they just have like fake iPads. Dude, oh man, I saw a baby's first Stanley Cup.
Ooh. Okay.
Like a mug. Like, it was the most disgusting capitalistic thing I've seen, and it made me not want to buy anything for Christmas this year.
You got to train them young to hop on those trends, you know?
Oh my goodness. Time for materialism. What's the new water cup of the year? Oh my goodness. And that's getting bought too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a train, that's useful. We use cups more than trains, I guess. But still, it's just the thought of a baby walking around with their own Stanley Cup. So lame. So lame. I will if there's any babies listening and you're going to have a Stanley Cup, I'm going to make fun of you to your face. But actually I won't, because if I do make fun of you, I'll be on the naughty list, so maybe not.
Well, I think you can get away with it because we've found out in this movie that there is a grace period, and they've already got your gifts squared away at the North Pole.
Just like Spotify Wrapped.
Yep.
We can listen to whatever we want now.
Yep.
Wicked soundtrack?
I listened to the Wicked soundtrack.
What else?
Consequences.
Nothing.
January 1st. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but Jeremy knows this about me, that I've already decided my retirement hobby is going to be like trains, like model trains.
Yeah.
I've never really been that interested in it, but it seems cool. I'm going to have a train room. But I'm just not, I'm too young for that right now. I don't know.
Yeah. You got to at least have kids. Wait. I like the idea of having like the model, like the miniature models. I think that's cool.
We'll see how my retirement funds turn out, but we'll find out, won't we?
What's the theme of your train table that you want?
I don't know. I haven't thought about theming yet. There definitely will be some kind of theme. Maybe just a classic Christmas village to start out, but who knows?
I think a Christmas village could be great.
I've also liked, maybe it's a little tacky, but like if I go in like a room and like I see that there's like a running train running around like
the room,
the wall, the top of the room, like by the roof.
Not the baseboards, but top baseboards. Yeah. I've been to a house that does that, and it is so cool.
Yeah. That's top tier.
Multiple rooms. Mm-hmm. You can get little mouse holes up top to make it go through your rooms.
There's even that scene in Casper where like he finds his old room and his toys, and he's got the train going around the room.
Ooh,
that was good. That left an impact.
I might maybe join you on this train.
All right,
hobbyist thing. If Abby lets me, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll just be neighbors, and I'll just come over and play trains with you when we're 60. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll just have to start like a model train YouTube channel, and then we can
just
deduct it.
Which reminds me, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, just do it. We'd love it.
Leave a comment.
Give us a little Christmas present.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, you got any other thoughts on this movie?
This is another one of those scenes 3/4 of the way in the movie that could be a perfect like theme park attraction. Well, first of all, this whole movie could be a good theme park attraction, but
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah,
specifically the presents sorter, the gift sorter in the North Pole, like the slide and stuff. It makes you land on the presents and stuff. Definitely. I don't know how they make little elves run the place, but but it was cool. It looked like a little ride, like a little monorail thing too. Like it would be the best theme park attraction ride.
There was a few sequences for sure. That was one of them. I mean, even just some scenes with the train itself making the journey, like going up the hills and like the downhill part. That was like it really turned into a ride at that point.
If you notice when they're going up the hill in the circle, even the train cars were bending.
Yeah,
it was like it was perfect.
And then it goes across the ice and it's just like drifting across the ice.
That was a good spot. That was good.
That was
cool. Speaking of ice, I live in Nashville-ish area, and every year there's this at the Opry Mills Mall. Well, not Opry Mills, the Opryland Hotel, right next to it, right next to the Grand Ole Opry. They do this thing called ice, and it's an ice sculpture exhibit every year. And it is like a walkthrough of multiple rooms of just crazy good ice sculptures. And last year it was Polar Express themed, and we went. This year is Frosty the Snowman, so we didn't go. Because Polar Express is just better. And we went last year, so. But they had the whole train life size, made of ice, and like you can go up to the front, and they had like the two guys hanging off the front,
okay,
going yow, like the beard guy. That was really good.
Oh yeah,
and there's like a little slide and stuff, and an ice slide. If you're ever in Nashville around Christmas time, I would definitely suggest going to ice. It is really cool.
I've heard that was a great thing. I've never been.
Yeah.
But I need to.
Different characters, and like they had the actual train seats we can sit on that were ice. So we didn't sit on them for long, but it was still fun.
I've definitely heard of like this movie inspired like a lot of like experiences like that you can go on where it's like, oh, it's like a Polar Express ride where like they encourage people to like, I guess it's like a little train ride or something on somewhere, but like you can go on, like dress up in your like PJs. They serve like, you know, treats and hot cocoa on the train.
Oh, we got it.
That would be cool.
Speaking of hot cocoa, would that's definitely the cinematic eat, right?
I mean, it's got to.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other like cookies or anything, but this week's cinematic eat is officially hot chocolate. Oh, we got it. Yeah, we got it. Just make sure you don't let it cool.
Yeah, it turned into like a whole musical there for a moment.
Yeah. No, there's multiple songs.
It has. Yeah, I didn't really remember, but it did have a few songs.
A star. Yeah. I mean, I had to sing them too because I was in the musical as in 8th grade. But when Christmas comes to town, that's a good song. It's sort of the same energy as "Where Are You Christmas" from The Grinch, only you don't want to fast forward past the scene. Same energy, but it's good.
Yeah. I thought the songs were good. I thought the score was really good too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Alan Silvestri did the score. I think he works with Zemeckis a lot.
Classic. Okay, this week's prop of the movie is obviously the Silver Bell.
Okay.
It's got to be the Silver Bell.
It's got to.
Did you have another one?
No, that's...
Because I have a runner-up, and that's definitely the Ford hubcap rattling on his radiator in his room. You know what I mean? Like the shiny metal thing.
Uh-huh.
But that's
it's got to be the bell.
It's the bell. Yeah.
It's what... Yeah, it's like the culmination of the whole story. It has so much symbolic meaning to it too. How could it not be?
I mean, yeah. If it can't be the vehicle, it's the actual bell. And actually, fun fact, a little stage magic for you. But I had 2 bells, one with the ball in it and one without it. And
Oh, okay.
I would switch them out for during the last scene, and I would shake it, and I couldn't hear anything. Neither could anyone else.
Wow.
And
2
then I
bells.
switched it out. Yep.
That's some like sleight of hand magician type stuff.
Yeah, I was an actor and a musician, actually. Magician. If you missed it, you missed the show of a lifetime. What can I say?
I hope we can find that video.
I do too.
I think that'd be
I would cringe
good to
so
rewatch.
hard. I bet it was so bad. But in my mind, I did really well. I did good for... I mean, it was a 45-minute play, and I had a lot of lines. And I was impressed that I remembered all those lines.
Me too.
Thanks. Do you ever wish you did any of the acting in school or at FC?
No, I mean, as I got older, no. I did. Yeah. We did like the Christmas programs every year, and every now and then, like I had some speaking roles. Just had like a few lines, never a whole lot. We did a play in our 6th grade year though, and that one was fun because I got the role as like this like funny character who like sleeps in class the whole time. So I literally just got to it was like a classroom set about this like teacher that comes in and trying to manage an unruly classroom. But my character was just like this lazy character that just like slept in class. My head was on the desk the entire time. And then I would just like pop up to like say like a funny quip every now and then and go back to sleep.
Kind of like in real life.
It was just written for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then I even got to try my hand at some like stage combat too, because like there was a scene where one kid like accidentally bumps into me and wakes me up and I'm all grumpy, and then we like get into a fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was a few performances and we tried to up it every single time. By the end of it, we were like falling off the stage and everything. Like, yeah, it was too much, but it was fun. And I was, what can I say? I was funny.
You were.
I was getting laughs.
You inspired me to get into it. I forgot about that. That was really good.
Yeah.
I don't even know what... It was just an unruly classroom? Like,
yeah,
was it based off of anything? Was like written?
No, it was... Okay, there was someone that came in that like wrote it themselves.
Oh.
Our teacher was like, wow, you like write plays. Like, you should do it at our school. So she's like, okay. She had like... It's something she had done at like schools in the past. She had like moved there. Anyway, it was something that she wrote herself and like, hey, we'll do it here. So it was called Miss Bronson Takes Charge.
I think we have the home movie of that too, so maybe we can find that somewhere.
Maybe we can.
Stay tuned. We'll upload it to our Patreon.
Yeah, maybe we'll react to it.
Instagram. Do you have a Muppet of the Week for this?
I do have a Muppet of the Week.
Is it train themed?
No, not necessarily.
Is it Tom Hanks themed?
No, it's children themed, because this week we're doing the Cratchit Children from A Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's perfect.
So I felt
that would be perfect for
this
Muppet's
movie.
Christmas Carol.
It would be. We've already covered it, but I figured, hey, this is a movie that features a bunch of kids, So let's dive deeper into the Cratchit Children from A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay.
There's just two pigs and 2 frogs. That's it. Story over.
But one of them's special because he has a crutch.
Well, Tiny Tim is played by Robin. Okay, I get confused because like you've got like the Muppets and they have their names, but then they're also playing characters.
Yeah.
But Miss Piggy plays Belinda. Tiny Tim is played by Robin the Frog.
Of course.
And then here's one that I'm confused as the name, but there's another one named Peter. Peter, the little frog, not on a crutch. And I don't know if that's the character's name or if that's the...
Doing Tiny Tim dirty over there.
That's literally what it says in the book. Peter, the little frog, not on a crutch. And then there's another piggy named Belinda. So,
Okay.
those are the names. I didn't really know any of the other kids' names. Tiny Tim kind of gets all the attention.
Give a kid a crutch. Never mind. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas. Jeremy, I guess as we're wrapping it up, what's your letterboxed score for the Polar Express?
Dog, you already know this.
What do you think mine's going to be?
4.
Yeah, 4.
Mine's a 5.
5.
It's a perfect movie for me.
Yeah, I mean,
just for me. I know other people don't like it. But for me, it's a 5.
Yeah, 4 might be a little bit high, but like I enjoyed it. I probably want to watch it more often than I do at Christmas time. And I think some people just aren't going to be sold on the genre of like, or at least like that style of animation of like the motion capture. I think most people are just going to be like, I'm a pass on that. But I feel like the people that do give it a chance and do enjoy it, like, yeah, they're on board with this movie. So they have their ticket.
I can't say anything else besides how good it is and how warm this movie makes me feel. I'll probably watch it again before the end of the year.
It's probably the hot cocoa.
Yeah.
It's definitely a nice, like,
nighttime
movie. Real close to Christmas Day.
Yeah.
This isn't the one you throw on, like, you know, day after Thanksgiving, kicking off Christmas movies, you know.
Yeah, you save time for it.
Yeah.
This is like the 23rd of December movie. While Muppets Christmas Carol is the 24th. I would say this is a top 5 Christmas movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No hesitations on that.
Probably not for me, but definitely a new appreciation for it having rewatched it. And if you haven't seen it in a while, maybe it's time.
Give it a whirl. You've grown up a little bit more now. You might pick up on some things. You might like it.
Well, I think it's time to get out of here.
Well, I loved how that was his only care in the world, was being on time.
I feel like I can relate to that of like, I'm very conscious of like how long things take. And I feel like nobody else in the world is. They're like,
yeah.
I'm like, you do know what's involved in that, right? That's going to take a while. Like, no, it'll be like 20 minutes. And then like, it'll be like an hour and a half later when it's done. Just like this podcast. All right.
Classic.
Well, if you are a listener of this podcast and you are hearing this, you could be watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Our Inside Quotes channel.
How many fingers am I holding up?
We'll put that as the Spotify poll. How many fingers is Jeremy holding up right now?
I'm not. Fun fact.
Ooh, trick question.
If you were on video, you'd know.
Yeah. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're over at Inside Quotes Cast. You can follow Jeremy's amazing artwork he's been making for the show, the YouTube thumbnails. We've got the staple bracket coming up soon.
Yeah, so we're going to need your help participating.
We're going to be posting stories over there. We need you to vote on the movies we've covered. And we've covered quite a bit this year compared to the most recent years. So it's been a good year for the podcast. We've really been hitting our stride again.
I think it's going to be a tough bracket, too.
I think so, too.
It's going to hurt. We've got some big old staples this year.
Big old staples.
We got our favorite movie in there already. So
yeah, we're going to have to talk about that, how we're going to handle that.
Yeah.
And we've been doing bonus episodes over on Patreon. If you want to join us, $3 a month over on patreon.com/insidequotes.
It's cheaper than a cup of cheaper than a cup of hot chocolate at Starbucks. So get a bonus episode in there. Come on.
It's been fun. Me and Jeremy are just talking about like what we've been watching each week.
Yeah.
That isn't stuff that we would like normally talk about on the podcast usually. just kind of like, hey, I've been watching this. What have you been watching? It's kind of our weekly catch up. Sometimes we talk about new movies that we saw in theaters, like Wicked.
Not just
that was one we
kids'
recently
movies,
did.
too.
Yeah.
I feel like if I talk to someone about our podcast, I'm always bringing up, like, yeah, we covered this movie this week. And then, you know what you should cover? You should cover insert movie that just came out that's like rated R. I'm like, no, it's like what we grew up on, like not necessarily kids movies, but like we won't cover that at all.
Yeah.
But we might on the back burners. So join the Staple Crew, $3 a month. We'd love you for it. Little Christmas gift for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for being a staple. Our show art was done by Bryce Bridgman, and you can find him on Instagram at GroovyBridge. Well, until next year, guys, we'll see you next time on Inside Quotes. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.